world, how are you doing today? It's Tom Brown here. I haven't made a video for a minute. I have been back to work now. I was gone the last 8 days to Washington and working up there for clients. I flew back in the day before yesterday. Flew back into Vegas, came home. Yesterday was yesterday was the 4th of July, so we didn't really do much. Took my kids to the pool. Well, I took my daughter to the pool. I had to take my son to the ER because he left today to go on vacation for 2 weeks with friends of his in Washington, and he has a tiny little lump thing going on the bottom of his chin, and we didn't know about it. He didn't say anything to us about it until yesterday morning. He said it was hurting the night before, and I was like, well, when did this happen? What you got to keep an eye on your body, man, and let us know when these things are happening. You can't wait until the last minute. And so we had a trip to the ER yesterday. It probably wasn't a real big deal to go to the ER, but my wife's been to the urgent care a couple times in town, and she just, they don't have any equipment. They don't have any like x-ray machines or ultrasounds or anything like that. They just, look at you and, okay, cough, when you look inside your mouth, all that kind of thing. And if there's a real problem, they'll send you to the ER or refer you somewhere. So we just figured we would skip that step and go straight to the ER. It was actually, we got blessed because we were in and out pretty quickly. There was some people waiting in the waiting room, but they got us in and out pretty quickly. They got us in, checked him in, asked him what was going on. We told him what was going on. We went back to the waiting room, waited around for a few minutes. They got us back in there again, did his ultrasound. That only took a couple minutes. Went back to the waiting room, sat around again for a minute, and then they brought us back and said, they gave us the discharge paperwork and said, yeah, it's not a big deal. Anyway, so the doctor thinks he just has an inflamed lymph node. I guess there's a lymph node right there, and it's pretty common for when you're fighting off an infection or something like that. A lot of people get them right here right under their ears, on the side of their neck. They'll get swollen and stuff like that when they're fighting an infection. But he said sometimes they get swelled up under your chin. So anyway, so that's what we did yesterday. I was planning on just hanging out at home and not doing anything because I was so beat from being gone. But and I will say, it was 4th of July yesterday. It's my daughter's birthday up in Washington. They had a party and stuff. But it's the first time, I think, maybe ever, that I haven't done fireworks. Washingtonians, man, they're big on fireworks because it's, it's not like Arizona. It's more wet there, and it's less likely to have fires. I still don't think fireworks are good for the yearly fire problem that we've been having, but in general, most of the people that I know are pretty safe with them. And if you see something like starting to flame up or something, I've had it happen to me a couple times in my yard, in my grass. We just have to put it out real quick, but anyway, but being here in Arizona, fireworks are illegal, and there's not many places around to go watch fireworks. They did have one, I guess, in Laughlin and Bullhead City, right over the Colorado River. But I was too tired. My wife really, didn't want to stay out that late, and we weren't really prepared to drive another half an hour, 40 minutes to go somewhere and wait around to watch the fireworks and then have to drive home. So it was just kind of an inconvenience. All the other years in Washington, you don't have to go far. I had most of the time bought fireworks and had a party for my daughter, invited friends and family over, and just kind of made a day out of it. But I'm actually kind of glad, because that was a lot of stress on me. And I enjoyed it because I liked lighting them off and watching them and all that, but it's expensive, and especially nowadays, man. I just noticed the last couple years they've gone up quite a bit, and I'd always drop a few $100 more than I was planning on doing, and I dropped a few $100 anyway. So it would cost me a lot usually to do it, with all the food and the alcohol and the beer and the having a bonfire and the cake and just all of it. It's just an expense, So anyway, we didn't do anything for the 4th. Didn't really miss anything, I guess. But today, this morning, my wife left early to take my son into Vegas to get him on the plane. He'll be gone for about 2 weeks, I think. And then when he gets back, they're going back to school. So hope he enjoys himself the last 2 weeks of his vacation. I'm going to be working on the greenhouse and the roof to my shed over the next couple weeks. After I get a hold of the bank today and stuff. The bank wasn't open yesterday, but as soon as I get a hold of the bank today and kind of figure out where we are with the finances, I can plan the next few weeks and to decide how much extra money I'm gonna have to get some stuff done around the homestead. I still have to make sure I leave that money in the table on the bank for my bills and stuff like that. But once we figure out, how much we need for our bills over the next month or whatever, then I'll know. I'll know what my budget is and how much I'm able to spend on stuff. I need to buy lumber for replacing the roof of my shed. I gotta buy tar paper. I gotta buy nails and roofing shingles, and so that stuff adds up quick. You start adding all these little things in, that adds up quick. So anyway, that's where I'm at. I've been working the last 7-8 days. Took a day off yesterday, and I'll get a hold of the bank today, find out how much money we're dealing with, and I'll move on to starting the next set of projects. We have the roof to the shed and the greenhouses are the next two major things, which I'm gonna get on right away, and I'll be doing some videos on that stuff with the homestead, and I'm gonna try to put a little extra effort into the videos I'm making, and I'm gonna experiment around a little bit with different approaches, and I'm gonna try to do like maybe an intro type of thing, just like a little bit more video editing, and try to incorporate a little bit more information into the videos instead of just like rambling and talking. So I'm gonna experiment with that over the next month or two and see if I can actually hone in my skills a little bit on making some better, higher quality videos that actually will help people to learn how to, if they're interested, learn how to go about doing their own thing and building little systems for themselves and all that kind of stuff. And my wife and I were talking yesterday and talking about how difficult it is, just this change from always having the convenience of just having everything right there that you need all the time, and the difference between that and having to not having everything right at your fingertips and having to create and make the things that you need that are required, and just the difference in work that goes into that. We did meet two new neighbors yesterday, older folks, and I asked them, I was like, do you guys live here all the time, like 24/7? And like, oh yeah, we live here permanently, and we've lived here for 25 years. And we only talked to them for a few minutes because we kind of passed them in the road, but I told the guys, like, man, you must not go many places. You must stay home a lot, because we've been here for over 3 months, and I've never driven by you before. And it's just like a 1-lane road where we live, and it's several miles long. So you'd think at some point, if they're living there all the time, we would have met them and passed them a little sooner. But like I said, they're older, and he's retired now. He works from home, so they don't have to leave as much as they did before he retired. He works from home, but he's retired, so he's older. He does some sort of side hustle thing from home. He still has a job, but his main career that he did throughout his life, he's retired from that. So it was nice meeting them, talking to them. They seem like nice people, and when you're living out like we are, knowing the immediate people that live near you, around you, and developing relationships with them is kind of necessary. He did say, like, hey, let's exchange phone numbers, for emergency purposes, and if you ever want to, we're gonna kind of go and check out their setup and see, how they operate, what they got going on there. If they have a greenhouse, whether they grow food, how much power they use, how much water they get out of their well or whatever, all that kind of stuff, just to kind of see what the boundaries are where everybody else is at, how much they can do and whatnot. And then they can come over and see what we got going on. I did tell him I was an electrician, so he was interested in that. And that we met the other neighbor. Well, I met her before. There's a gate that you open and close when you come in and out of the road. And my wife for a long time says, I don't really want to open and close it every time I come through. I just open it and leave it open until I come back, and then I'll close it every time we come through. if we leave it open, it's closed. And this other lady, one of our other neighbors, she kind of monitors that gate, and she lives right there where the gate's at. And that's where I met her before, was at the gate. And I told my wife, I'm like, well, we don't really want to create any bad blood with people. I mean, we're the newbies here, and, if they want the gate to remain closed, then who are we to, say that it needs to stay open? There is cattle that roam around there, so I think it's for that, for the cattle. But so I'm not sure how that works. If it's two different ranchers that has two different sets of cattle, I don't really know, because there's cattle on both sides of the gate. So yeah, I don't really know. But anyway, so she finally realized after a few weeks that, yeah, you know what, maybe I should just open it and close it when I leave, just so, if there is a certain reason why it remains closed, that I'm not upsetting somebody. So, but anyway, rant. I met her a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months ago, and my wife finally had a chance to meet her yesterday at the gate. She was out there with her dogs walking, and she's a really nice lady. She lives out there. She's building an off-grid homestead. She's getting ready to do a greenhouse. Well, she has a greenhouse, but she's working on doing another one or something. I don't. We didn't talk to her for very long, but she's, my wife asked her, so is anybody helping you, or you got kids that come up and help you, or anything like that? And she's like, no, I'm all alone out here. I do it all by myself, and whatever I get done is nothing happens very quickly, because I'm only one person, and I know how that goes. But so it was encouraging for my wife and me as well to see that there are people that stick it out and find a way to continue to live out there. The one people have been there for 25 years. Our other neighbors have been there for 25 years. The single lady, I'm not sure how long I think she's been there for 5 years or something. So that was encouraging to us, knowing that people, and the people that we met yesterday, the couple, I think they have a pretty nice setup. They got a pretty nice house, and probably, they've been working on it over the years, and they're probably at a point now where they got what they need and everything works, and probably have to monkey with stuff and fix stuff every once in a while. I don't think that'll ever I don't think that'll ever go away. But anyway, it was just it was encouraging to us, knowing that there's people that live right next to us that have been there for so long, and they stick it out, and they stay there, and they live there, and that's how they do it. But that kind of leads me into the point I wanted to make today about convenience. I think maybe not the whole world, but Americans in general are conveniently killing themselves. And what I mean by that is there's so much focus and so much effort put into convenience that the results from that are choking us out. For example, I'm just going to use trash as an example, right? You go to the store, you get all these little pretty packages or whatever, and you grab something, it's packaged with some plastic packaging or metal packaging, and you use it for 10 minutes or whatever, and then that plastic has no more use for itself. So where does it go? It goes into the trash. And this happens all day long, every day, with most every person. And that results in mountains and mountains and piles of plastic debris. I mean, I know it's a lot, but I probably can't even fathom in my mind how much actual garbage and trash is just thrown out every single day. You put it in your little bin, put it in a garbage can somewhere, and it just magically disappears into the magic garbage can container. But all that trash has gone somewhere, and there's a lot of trash that is designed for convenience. And I'm an advocate for not having a lot of rules and not being governed by the government and not having some entity with their thumb over you all the time and letting people just kind of make their own decisions. But at the same time, I don't think people should be allowed to destroy Mother Earth for convenience. I think most of our problems stem from our education. The education is slowly getting less and less and less. Back in the early 1900s and before, and back in the olden days, people didn't have the modern conveniences that they have now, and they had to know how to do things on their own, and they could do things on their own. People would just design things in their yard and make things in their garage and their shop to do certain functions around their farms and stuff, and they were innovative. They would take used materials and make something useful that they needed for their own convenience, to operate a more convenient homestead or farmstead. And those people were smart. They could fix anything. They knew how things were built and put together, and more and more and more, the education is getting less and less and less. They don't teach you how to think or how to fix things or how to solve problems on your own with your own brain. Nowadays, it's all repetitive, remembering this and remembering that fact, and repeat this and repeat that. There's no teaching kids how to think for themselves. I mean, I know a parent has got a job to do as well in that department. But when their kids are getting a formal education 8 hours a day, 4 or 5 days a week, I mean, you got to have some sort of training in those hours, all that time, teaching kids how to think for themselves. But we all know that that's not what the rulers and all the people that are in the penthouse on top of the building want from their slaves. So I mean, it's just something we have to recognize, that the situation we're in, and we have to teach ourselves. We got to learn ourselves. The parents and the people that know what's going on, that can think for themselves, need to pass that ability to think for yourselves on to the kids, because the only thing they're thinking is what they're told to think. And everything they see on YouTube and TikTok and Facebook and Netflix and all this other crap is how they're going to inform themselves with their opinion on how the world works. And everybody that's got a brain cell in active duty knows that what is being portrayed all over the media and all over the social media and TikTok and Facebook is not designed to help kids learn and help kids think on their own. It's just all about what to think. This is how it is, and this is what everybody should think, and all these poisonous ideas that are being spread. And the funny thing about that is, it's not really funny, but they take the truth of what's going on and they make the kids think that is the toxic white privilege, toxic masculinity, way of dealing with your environment and thinking about things, when that's the exact opposite of the truth. Those things is what has made us as free as we have been all these years. And the stuff that they're trying to instill in the children, I don't even know where to start. Black Lives Matter, LGBTQ movement, the racial inequality they're teaching in the schools, all this crap is designed and made to make kids think a certain way about things, but not necessarily know how to think for themselves. See, that's the difference. They can't make informed decisions if you don't know the truth and the facts about things. The only conclusions you can come up with is what you're told to come up with. What thoughts have been implanted and inserted in your brain to make you think and feel and act a certain way, to make you a drone and opposed to any sort of critical thinking that any person might come up and try to say or try to do. Like, oh, well, you're just you just have white privilege, and you don't really know what's going on in the world these days, and blah 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 blah. It's so beat into them that they cannot see the truth staring right at them when you're telling them right in front of their face. They can't see it because they're not able to see it. So I think it's time for the people that know what's going on, that haven't been totally brainwashed by the system, to step up to the plate and start teaching kids and other people and peers about just, the truth of what's going on. The fact that all this crap that they're stuffing down our throats on a constant basis is it's all propagated and put out in the mainstream to keep people stupid and unable to make critical decisions and to think critically for themselves. They don't want people to think for themselves. They don't want people to be informed and to make informed decisions with facts and to think for themselves and to be able to say, no, I'm not going to comply with that. I'm not going to do that because it goes against the truth. They want people to just go along with every little thing that comes down the pipe because they've been told that that's what's going on. Not the fact, not it ain't the fact that that is what's going on or that is the truth. It's just what's been portrayed and what has been stuffed it down their throat. So we need to get back to being able to see the facts for the facts, see the world for how it is, and start overcoming some of this brainwashing. I mean, people are just they're so deep in the trenches, they can't see over the edge of the trench anymore. And that's a big issue. That's a big, big problem. Because not only does it affect your own personal life, but it starts affecting everybody. The whole world is being affected by the way you think when you think like that. And, you know, the whole world is also being affected by the way I think when I think a certain way. But at least I'm trying to spread some positive news. And I mean, I know what I say isn't positive, but the result of doing the research and realizing that what I'm saying is true is a positive thing. Because people need to stop letting people control them and letting the media control their thoughts. And, you know, they got to stop believing every little thing they see and hear on the mainstream, because none of it's true. And if you believe everything you see and hear on the mainstream, you're just another little cog in the wheel, in the wheel of tyranny. Because when push comes to shove, you're not gonna stand up for your fellow man and stand up against the tyranny, against what's wrong. You're just gonna be like, oh well, yeah, go ahead and take those people and haul them away and put them in a camp somewhere, because they're part of the problem. They're not going along with all these rules and regulations, and they're making everybody unsafe. I'm going to make another video later. I got to jump out and do something right now, but I'm going to continue this video and get a little deeper into what I'm trying to get across here. Bye. Yeah, so the people that are brainwashed by what's going on by the system and are totally going along with all the little rules and regulations and mandates and all this crap, and they can't see the blinders that have been pulled in front of their face. If you don't step out of that fog and start trying to get some real information for yourself, then you are on the side of the controllers and the tyranny, and you're just making it easier for them to come in with their one world government and all their crap that they're planning on doing. And you're just going to make it easy for them because you're in agreement with what they're doing. You're not standing up against it. You're not saying no. You're not saying, no, this is wrong, there should be a different way. You're just going along with every little thing. And no matter what ridiculous rules they come up with or mandates they come up with, you're just going to be like, okay, oh, you said to do it, so I'm going to do it, and I'm going to comply because I'm a good little slave. The thing that people have to realize is we are at war, literal war. We've been at war for quite some time now, and it's a spiritual war, and it's a war against people's perceptions. It's a war on your brain and your thoughts, and they're winning the damn war because in the mainstream, people like me are portrayed as kooks and crazies and extremists and all these other stupid things they throw out. and say against the people that are trying to stand up against this. There's a small number of people compared to the masses in the world that are standing up and speaking out against it. I think there's a bigger number of people that in their minds they know something's not right, and they know that what's going on is wrong, and it shouldn't be like this, and yada yada yada. But they think to themselves, well, that's just the way it is. Who am I? What can I do about it? I just have to go along to get along, comply with the rules for now, so things will get better. And I don't want to be part of the problem and make ripples and cause problems for other people. And that's what they want you to think. They want you to comply and stand in line and get in line and just do what you're told and be a good little follower. But if we want to see things change, and if we want to make things change, we can't have that mentality anymore, because people have had that mentality for decades, and it hasn't gotten us anywhere. It's gotten us to the point where we are now, where we've given all of our control and all of our rights away to evil, corrupted, billionaire corporations and evil governments that think that they can do whatever they want because they have all these legal powers that they can rely on. When the truth of the matter is, all that crap's just written down on a piece of paper, and that paper can be burnt at any time. Every living person on this planet is a human being designed by the Creator, and we all bleed the same color of blood. And it's time for us to realize that fact. Stop worrying about all the little differences that people throw out in front of each other. I'm white, you're black, you're gay, I'm straight, you're rich, I'm poor. All these divides. If people could just see the truth for what it is and realize that we've all been played and we've all been had, we could end the slavery and the world domination easily. Those people don't have any power other than what we allow them to have. And we allow them to have that power by not saying no. Not saying, no, I'm not going to do that. Sorry, your stupid rules are ridiculous and they're immoral, and I'm not following them because I follow truth and I follow what's right. And what you're trying to make me do is not the truth and it's not right. So therefore, I don't have to do it, and you can't punish me or say I'm breaking the law or any stupid, ridiculous thing like that when I am standing up for truth and you are the one that's trying to impose tyranny. See? That's the difference. People need to realize that. We are the ones that hold the power. We are the ones that have the control. They've just mind manipulated everybody to think that they hold all the cards, and they don't. There's very few of them compared to the masses of people that are all just standing there looking at their phones going, yep, okay, I'll wear the mask, I'll stand 6 feet apart, I'll believe all this shit that they're throwing at us on the mainstream. It's time to wake up, people. It's time to come out of your bubble, do a little research on your own. Just type in something into Google. Google is getting worse and worse and worse trying to find actual facts on it. Even like on YouTube, like I've watched like full-length videos, documentaries before on certain things, and I'll go and look those documentaries and those videos up, and it'll just be like a 3-minute clip of something somebody's talking about something that came out of the 2-hour documentary. So the truth and the facts and things like that are getting harder and harder and harder to find. So we need to start now looking up and looking for the alternative answers. You can't just believe every little thing that you're told and that you hear on
on the cable, on the mainstream media sites like TikTok and Twitter, Google, YouTube. Those are all controlled. And even though there's people like me that are on YouTube that are speaking out, they won't really do a whole lot until you start getting a lot of followers. And then once you become once you get to the point where you're too influential, that's when they pull the plug on you. Because for people like me, like hardly nobody watches the videos, so they're like, oh, whatever, who cares what he says? Nobody's even listening to him, so it doesn't matter. But if I had 200,000 viewers or something like that, it might be a different story. They might be thinking, well, we gotta have to, discontinue these videos because too many people are watching it. And that's how it works. You can think whatever you want to think. I'm just telling you that's how it works. And anyway, I'm doing what I can with what I have, and I'm trying to help my kids see that there is a different way you can live on this planet, not have to step in line and go along with all the crap that's out there and all the stupid stuff that the kids are doing nowadays. You don't have to do that. You don't have to be a follower and just a doer. You can be a leader and an example for people on how to be different. So that's our goal, and that's what we plan on doing. And hopefully my kids will follow on that path. Ultimately, they make their own decisions, and they're their own people. And if they do decide to go down the other road, at least I tried. At least I did what I could do, and I spoke out against the tyranny, and I showed them a different way. And you can lead a horse to water, and you can't make them drink. So I'm doing what I can do, and that's all I can do. And that's all anybody can do. But if more people were doing it, it would be easier for everybody, because the kids would see it. They would see that there's that going on. My kids wouldn't tell me, but, oh, why are you taking our phones at 9 o'clock at night every night? None of my friends have to give their phones up. All my friends can have their phones all night, every night, and they never, the Xbox never gets turned off, and their tablets never get turned off, and they can, it's like, well, good for them. That's real great for them, but they're not my kids. You are my kids, and as far as I'm concerned, there's going to be a limit. There's going to be rules, because I'm seeing what's happening with those other kids, and they're getting torn apart. They may seem all happy-go-lucky, and, oh, yeah, I get to game. I'm a gamer, and I get to be on, 16 hours a day, and, whatever. And I'm telling you, it just seems like a good thing from while you're looking at the situation. But if you step back and look at it from, a different point of view, you realize that all this crap is destroying the children. It's destroying their minds, how they think, their laziness, how they treat other people, how they interact with other people. It's all going in the shitter. And if you can't see that, then you have beer goggles on. So anyway, on that positive note, I'm going to end for the day. You guys have a good one.